The British Virgin Islands is calling for their independence, self-government from the United Kingdom, the UK, and the Caribbean is supporting the British Virgin Islands with this. Yes, breaking news coming out of the BVI, the British Virgin Islands. The British Virgin Islands is calling for self-government. They want to govern their internal affairs. They want independence from Britain. And the Eastern Caribbean is supporting that. This news is breaking coming out of the BVI right now, my friends, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what is happening. Now, the BVI is a group of islands that is in the Caribbean, but it is governed by the United Kingdom, the UK. But what is happening now is that the British Virgin Islands is now calling for their independence, and the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS Caribbean, supports British Virgin Islands call for independence from the UK. The Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States has formally expressed strong support for the British Virgin Islands BVI in its pursuit of full internal self-government and constitutional advancement. In a statement issued on May 15, 2025, the OECS commended the BVI for completing its most comprehensive governance reform program, highlighting it as a testament to its territory's commitment to good governance, transparency, accountability, and democratic values. The OECS acknowledges the BVI government's aspiration to initiate constitutional negotiations with the United Kingdom aimed at achieving full internal self-government under a new pre-independence constitution. So this is another step towards full independence. Right now, the British Virgin Islands, I will let you know, all the islands that are in the British Virgin Islands, they are colonies of the UK right now, but they are right next to independent islands like Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, Dominica, St. Lucia, around that region. The organization also called for the lifting of existing border order in council, which allows for unilateral constitutional suspension, and urged against political motivated economic impositions that could undermine the territory's financial services sector or economic stability. Furthermore, the OECS endorsed the findings of the United Nations Special Committee on Decolonization, which visited the BVI in August 2024. The committee recommendations included implementing a national education program on independence, establishing a roadmap towards self-governance, and facilitating dialogue with the United Kingdom, potentially mediated by the United Nations. This support from the OECS signifies a notable moment of regional solidarity, emphasizing the Caribbean's commitment to self-determination and democratic governance. Yes, my friends, the BVI is a group of islands in the Caribbean that is governed by the United Kingdom. We hardly hear anything about them because they are like the British overseas territory. They're like British. So they are in the Caribbean but still separated from us. Like Guadeloupe and Martinique are French colonies in the Caribbean. And even though they're right next to St. Lucia, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, they're separated still because of that system that the French and British have in the Caribbean, that divide and conquer system. Now the British Virgin Islands is located in the Caribbean, specifically in the Leeward Islands. The islands, the British Virgin Islands, is a group of more than 50 islands, around 60 islands, and they are in the Caribbean Sea. The main islands in the BVI, the British Virgin Islands, are Tortola, Virgin Gorda, Angeda, and Joos van Dyke. That sounds like a Dutch name, but my friends, that is where the British Virgin Islands is. So if you're watching from the British Virgin Islands, comment your thoughts and opinion and let us know what is happening there. Do you want your independence? Are you negotiating for your independence? How do you plan to get your independence from Britain? Because we know Britain do not give independence easily. They want to maintain a foothold in the Caribbean islands. So they hold on some of these islands, and they can do whatever they want. They can build military bases. They can spy on the other islands. They can do anything. So that is what is happening in the BVI, my friends. Let me know if you're watching for the first time, and if you're watching for the first time, please consider subscribing to my channel. The mission of my channel is to bridge the gap between the African continent and the African diaspora, because we are one people separated by a brutal European Transatlantic Slave Trade and colonialism. But we're coming back together as one, my friends, stronger than ever before. My name is Beyond. This is Beyond Uncut. Make sure to like the video and share it with all your friends and family. Comment your thoughts and opinion, and let's have a wonderful interactive conversation. And if you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe to my channel and join the family. Join the family. You can also support the channel by joining and actually signing up to become a member of my channel, to become a member of this channel and help to bridge the gap between the African continent and the African diaspora. Click the membership button. The link is here in this description box. Click that button and go on over and join the channel. I also have a travel channel. You can click the link in this description box as well and go on over and subscribe to that channel. Let me know where you're watching from, and let me know what you think about the breaking news that is in the BVI right now, the British Virgin Islands. And this news was carried by various Caribbean news agencies. In a historic and resounding declaration, the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States has thrown its full weight behind the British Virgin Islands as the territory intensifies its march towards full internal self-government and constitutional emancipation from British oversight. Right now, Britain is controlling the BVI. It's a full colony of the United Kingdom. Anguilla is like a partial colony of the Britain. Anguilla has a premier, it has its internal government, but it has a British Governor General, and Britain deals with foreign affairs and anything foreign with to do with Anguilla, but Anguilla manages its internal affairs. So anything to do around the world, Britain manages that for Anguilla. So Anguilla cannot go into a relationship with Russia or China or Taiwan or any other country. It is Britain that will have to go into that relationship for Anguilla. But they can manage their internal affairs and do their own self-government inside the island, but not outside the island. So Anguilla is kind of like a prison inside the island. They are governing themselves inside the island, but their ministers are not empowered to go out and seek any foreign affairs. They cannot deal with any foreign countries, cannot develop diplomatic relations with any countries. They cannot speak at the United Nations. Guadeloupe cannot do that. Martinique cannot do that. The BVI cannot do that. Montserrat cannot do that. All of these countries that are governed by Britain and other European countries, also the US Virgin Islands, we have St. Croix and St. Thomas and some other islands that is under the US Virgin Islands. They're like colonies of the United States of America. They're in the same region as well. They cannot get involved in external affairs, foreign affairs. Like St. Martin, for example. St. Martin is like half Dutch, half French. So the French controls half of St. Martin and the Dutch controls the other half. St. Martin can govern their internal affairs, but they cannot go outside of St. Martin to develop diplomatic relations with any country. They cannot speak at the United Nations. They cannot seek overseas grants from China, from Russia, from wherever, Taiwan. They cannot do any of that. The US and the UK and France and Dutch, the Netherlands, they are the major players in the Caribbean that owns islands up until today. So they have islands in the Caribbean still that they colonize. They have colonized and they have them as their colonies. The OECS is made up of, which is the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, is made up of Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Grenada, Dominica, St. Lucia. I think that's it. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sorry. Let me know if I missed any one of them, but that's the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States. I think they have associated members as well, but those are the main members. And these countries are fully independent, like CARICOM. Countries that are made up of CARICOM, like Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These are Guyana. These are Caribbean nation islands that are fully independent, which means they can speak at the United Nations, they have a vote at the United Nations, they can seek overseas grants, they can develop diplomatic relations with other countries, they can do a lot of things, my friends. So what I'm saying, the British Virgin Islands does not have that power. Anguilla does not have that power. St. Martin doesn't have that power. Martinique doesn't have that power. Guadeloupe doesn't have that power. So that is why we don't hear much about them. They're like hidden on their islands, managing their own affairs. But it's up to the US, UK, and the Netherlands to manage their external affairs. And we know they're not going to represent them well, because there's mostly black African people living on all those islands that I mentioned, my friends. But that is another discussion for another video. Make sure to like this video, share it with all your friends and family. My name is Beyond. This is Beyond Uncut. Thank you for coming back today and watching this video. And I will see you again tomorrow in the next video. Before I go, make sure to like the video, give me a thumbs up, share the video with all your friends and family, comment your thoughts and opinion. Let's have a wonderful interactive conversation about this topic. Do you think the BVI should get its full independence from the colonizers, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, or the divided Kingdom of Great Britain? That is what some people say. So let me know your thoughts and opinion, and thank you for watching today, and welcome back to my channel if you're coming back again, and thank you for watching all my other videos, and I will see you again tomorrow in the next one. Much love.